Hello everyone. Welcome back to IAS Cafe. My name is Priyanka. Let us begin with today's decoding session of the Hindu, 8th of November 2023. From today's newspaper, we'll be discussing about three important topics. The number one is about India and Bhutan relations. So there's clearly mentioned in the syllabus of the UPSC that we have to talk about the bilateral relations about India and the neighboring countries. And Bhutan is the very much neighboring country of India. So here we'll be talking about the bilateral relations between India and Bhutan. Because Bhutan is one of our friendliest countries when we talk about cultural or the historical relations. So here we'll be discussing about India and Bhutan in detail. Then second is about the internal displacement in the Democratic Republic of Congo. DRC or the Democratic Republic of Congo is a place in Africa, and then this region is facing a serious issue regarding the internal displacement. By the way, this internal displacement is not only an issue regarding the Africa or Democratic Republic of Congo, it is a real problem which is occurring in today's time everywhere. For example, India. Every youth, every point of the population, sorry, every sector of the population wants to move towards the metro city. For example, Mumbai is there, Delhi is there, Bangalore is there, right? So there are certain cities in our country which are facing more load of the population. Similarly, here the article is talking about the internal displacement in the DRC, that is the Democratic Republic of Congo. And at last, we'll be talking about the Zika virus, which is currently the topic regarding the disease. You can connect it with respect to the GS paper 3 of UPSC, which talks about the science and technology and environment. So in this paper, the general science category in which the diseases are mentioned in the syllabus, you can pretty well study this with respect to the GS paper 3. Okay. So before we begin our discussion, this is our channel IAS Cafe. If you're really liking our videos, please do support us by like and share and subscribing our channel. Now, moving to the main discussion about the India and Bhutan's relation. First of all, imagine the location of the Bhutan on the border of India. This is your country, India. Let me draw like this. This is your northeastern region. If I talk about the North India, if I talk about the North India, here you are having Jammu and Kashmir. This is your Ladakh, Himachal Pradesh, Nepal, Sikkim, and this portion is your Bhutan. This is your Bhutan, and this is on the border of India. Okay, so this is your Bhutan, and it is on the border of the India. If you talk about the shape or the size of this region, it is very small in the shape and size, but it is very important for us because India and Bhutan share a very unique and special relationship, which is completely based on the long history of both the countries regarding the cultural, economic, and political ties. So, despite its small size, Bhutan occupies a strategically important position in the South Asia and has been a key partner for India in the regional cooperation efforts. Now, I would like all of you to imagine the location of the Bhutan for 1 second. Here you are having India. This is the location of Bhutan. And here we are having the complete South Asia or Southeast Asia particularly. And most important, that is China is also here. China is a country with whom everyone is scared or annoyed right now. For example, US, the powerful country, because of the Indo-Pacific region, China is interfering in everything. China claims the boundary or the regions or the territories of many countries. Bhutan is also one among them. So Bhutan's border dispute with China and its relationship with India have been in the spotlight recently with concerns over the possibility of country moving away from its traditional ally India. See, Bhutan is like a sandwich between the India and China. एक तरफ इंडिया है, दूसरी तरफ चाइना, और बीच में जो आपके पास भूटान रीजन है एक तरह से सैंडविच की तरफ पिस गया है. If Bhutan makes some good relations with the China, India will suffer. If Bhutan makes some good relations with India, China will suffer. Because ultimately, the location of Bhutan is strategically very important. How? We will have a look over here. First, it should be clear that Bhutan is having, so for example, this is your Bhutan. It has a border dispute with the China. So what is your first point? Bhutan. It has the territorial dispute with the China. When I talk about the territorial dispute, that means China is claiming some good margin of the territory of Bhutan as its own country. So territorial dispute with the China. So while Bhutan has been engaging in negotiations with China over its territorial dispute, recent developments suggest that continuity still looms large in the Bhutan-India relations. So this was about the historical relations, the territorial dispute between the China and Bhutan. Now, what are the recent developments in the China-Bhutan relations जो कि इंडिया के लिए कंसर्न है? At present, currently, चाइना और भूटान के क्या रिलेशंस हो रहे हैं, क्या डेवलपमेंट हो रहे हैं जिसकी वजह से इंडिया को बहुत ज्यादा टेंशन में है. ठीक. सबसे पहली बात, भूटान का जो बॉर्डर डिस्प्यूट चल रहा है चाइना के साथ. Bhutan and China have had a long standing border dispute with China, claiming a large part of Bhutanese territory in the western region. For example, this is the Bhutan, this is the north, south, east, and west. So, claiming of the region is in the western side. And this site which China is claiming, it is very strategically important because of the Siliguri corridor. Because of the Siliguri corridor. Now, what is the Siliguri corridor? It is also known as chicken's neck of India. इंटरनल सिक्योरिटी में आपने पढ़ा होगा इंडिया का जो नॉर्थ ईस्ट रीजन है, it is connected with rest of the mainland only with a narrow Siliguri corridor which is also known as chicken's neck. एक तो नॉर्थ ईस्ट के अंदर बहुत सारी प्रॉब्लम्स चल रही है. They always feels alienation feeling that we are alienated from the mainland India. That government is not doing enough for them. They are facing racial discrimination, lack of development, lack of education, lack of many things. So it is a very sensitive region of India, that is the northeast part, and it is connected with rest of India only with the Siliguri corridor. So if China gets control over this region of Bhutan, which is very close to the Siliguri corridor, that means China could very well control this area as well. That means ultimately पूरा जो नॉर्थ ईस्ट रीजन है इंडिया का कहीं ना कहीं उस पर डायरेक्टली नहीं इनडायरेक्टली चाइना का इन्फ्लुएंस होगा. बिकॉज जो नॉर्थ ईस्ट रीजन है उसमें इंटरनेशनल बाउंड्रीज ज्यादा टच हो रही है और जो जिस कंट्री का वो पार्ट है दैट इज इंडिया, वहां पे बहुत ही नैरो रीजन सिलीगुड़ी कॉरिडोर से वो कनेक्टेड है. So you can pretty well imagine how sensitive this area is and how important this area is for us. So if China were to make any advances in the region, it could potentially threaten India's security. एक भी एडवांस चाइना की तरफ से एक भी कदम इस रीजन में चाइना की तरफ से आता है, दैट मीन्स इंडिया का जो इंटरनल सिक्योरिटी उसको डायरेक्टली यहाँ पे खतरा है. China's dispute the following territories with the Bhutan. In the north, the Pasamlung and the Jakarlung Valley. सबसे पहले तो वैली क्या होता है? If this is your mountain, this is the mountainous region. This area between the mountain, this area between the mountain is known as valley. A narrow region between the mountain इसको बोलते हैं valley. तो चाइना कौन कौन सी जो टेरिटरीज उसको क्लेम करता है? नॉर्थ के अंदर तो है आपके पास पासमलुंग एंड जाकरलुंग वैलीज, बोथ ऑफ विच आर कल्चरली वाइटल फॉर भूटान. जो नॉर्थ वाली टेरिटरीज है वो भूटान के लिए कल्चरल पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. वेस्ट में आपके पास डोकलाम है, डोकलाम इशू काफी न्यूज में चलता रहता है. ब्राह्मणा है, सकौतो है, याकचू है, चारितांगचू है और सिंचुलुंगपा है. और यहाँ पे क्या हो जाएगा आपके पास लंगमारपा वैलीज है. The Doklam Tri-Junction is crucial for India as it lies precariously close to the Siliguri corridor. ये Tri-Junction है. चाइना, भूटान, इंडिया. सबसे ज्यादा सेंसिटिव अगर इस पूरे टेरिटोरियल डिस्प्यूट में कोई एरिया है तो वो डोकलाम है, बिकॉज ये सीधा सिलीगुड़ी कॉरिडोर को टच करता है. China has also claimed the Saxing Sanctuary Please mark this important Shark Tank century, because in the prelims question directly comes from the Shark Tank century, or they will ask the wildlife, the flora and fauna of this area. You will be talking that it is not written in the book. You have to connect like this from the newspaper. You have to read everything about the Shark Tank century. Influence in the region. Bhutan is one of the India's closest allies in the region, and India has long provided economically and military support to the Bhutan. सबसे पहले तो बात करते हैं भूटान जो है एक छोटा रीजन है कंपेयर टू इंडिया एंड चाइना, लेकिन भूटान को इंडिया ने हमेशा इकोनॉमिक सपोर्ट दिया है, जब भी सेफ्टी की बात आई है मिलिट्री सपोर्ट दिया है. Always they have maintained a friendly relations. They also have a friendship treaty. However, recently China has been increasing its economic and diplomatic ties with the Bhutan. It is clear that money is the most powerful thing in the world. If you have money, you are powerful. So, in the same way, initially India was helping Bhutan economically as well, diplomatically, militarily. Now, China's policy, as you all know, that support the countries by giving money, and when they are not able to return their money, return their loan, they acquire their ports or the important areas of that region. Similarly, China is doing here. China is economically helping the Bhutan. China is making diplomatic ties with the Bhutan, which could potentially weaken the relation of Bhutan with the India. So, what are the China's assertiveness over here? China has become increasingly assertive in foreign policy, particularly in the Asia Pacific region. एशिया पैसिफिक रीजन को लेके बहुत ही ज्यादा असर्टिवनेस चाइना शो कर रहा है. भूटान इज जस्ट वन पार्ट ऑफ दैट. इसकी वजह से बहुत सारी कंट्रीज में यहाँ पे टेंशन हो रही है, इंक्लूडिंग इंडिया. दैट इज इंडिया इज वन ऑफ दैट कंट्री, दोज कंट्रीज. If China were to use its increasing influence in Bhutan to further its strategic goals, it could potentially pose a challenge to India's regional security. अब जब पूरा खेल यहाँ पे है कि भूटान हमारे लिए जोग्राफिकली इंपॉर्टेंट है, स्ट्रैटेजिकली इंपॉर्टेंट है, देयर आर सर्टेन अदर पॉइंट्स जो हम देख सकते हैं कि व्हाई भूटान इज इंपॉर्टेंट फॉर इंडिया, व्हाई वी आर कंसर्न. नंबर वन इज ऑब्वियसली अबाउट द स्ट्रैटेजिक इंपॉर्टेंस. वी हैव टॉक्ड अबाउट द सिलीगुड़ी कॉरिडोर, दैट भूटान शेयर्स इट्स बॉर्डर विथ इंडिया एंड चाइना, and its strategic location makes it important buffer state for India's security interests. India has provided Bhutan with the assistance in the areas such as defense, infrastructure, communication, which has helped to maintain Bhutan's sovereignty and territorial integrity. India has helped Bhutan build and maintain its border infrastructure. For example, roads are there, bridges are there, various projects are there. If we talk about the economic importance, India is Bhutan's largest trading partner and Bhutan's major export destination. अगर भूटान अपनी कंट्री से सबसे ज्यादा एक्सपोर्ट अगर किसी देश में कर रहा है तो वो भारत है. इंडिया का अगर हम बात करते हैं ट्रेडिंग पार्टनर के कंटेक्स्ट में, भूटान का लार्जेस्ट ट्रेडिंग पार्टनर कौन है? यहाँ पे इंडिया है. भूटान के हाइड्रो पावर पोटेंशियल में बहुत ही सिग्निफिकेंट सोर्स है रेवेन्यू फॉर द कंट्री, and India has been instrumental in assisting Bhutan in developing its hydropower project. India also provides Bhutan with financial assistance for its development projects. Cultural importance for every country in the Southeast Asia or South Asia is very important, because the South Asian countries place very focus a lot on their cultural relations, be it China, be it India, be it Bhutan, be it Japan or any other country. In their country, culture is very important. So yes, Bhutan and India also share a strong cultural ties because of the Buddhism. They have a historical connection with respect to the Buddhism. The famous Nalanda University of India, Vikramshil University. India has provided assistance to Bhutan in preserving its cultural heritage, and many Bhutanese students come to India for higher education. So what are the other environmental importance? Bhutan is one of the few countries that has pledged to remain the carbon neutral, and it is very good part. And yes, they have maintained this promise. भूटान इकलौती तो नहीं, बहुत few ऐसी कंट्रीज है जिसमें से भूटान भी है जो कि अभी तक कार्बन न्यूट्रल की प्लेज को लेके कायम है. बट अल्टीमेटली सफर करता है भूटान, बिकॉज उसकी जो नेबरिंग कंट्रीज है लाइक इंडिया है, चाइना, उसका जितना भी पोल्यूशन है वो भूटान पे आके गिरता है. As we said, it is becoming a sandwich between the India and China. India has provided assistance to Bhutan in areas, for example, the renewable energy, the forest conservation, sustainable tourism. अब challenges कहाँ आ रहे हैं? Obviously, China का influence यहाँ पे grow कर रहा है. China's increasing presence in Bhutan, particularly along the disputed border. Then about the border dispute, Doklam standoff चल रहा है 2017 तक, जिसके अभी भी कोई conclusion नहीं आया है. Hydropower project. Bhutan hydropower is a key pillar of its economy, and India has been a major partner in its development. Trade issue. India is Bhutan's largest trading partner, accounting for over 80% of Bhutan's total import and export. However, there have been some concern in Bhutan over the trade imbalance, with Bhutan importing more from India than its export. So this was all about the sensitive issues of the Bhutan, the influence of the China on Bhutan, and the concerns of India, because Bhutan is very significant, very instrumental for India. Coming to our second topic about the massive internal displacement in the Democratic Republic of Congo, that is the DRC. So first thing, what is the root of ethnic conflict in the Democratic Republic of Congo? इसमें हम देखेंगे. Second, जो major rebel group है वो कौन है? And what are the reasons, or what is the tension start between the DRC and the neighboring countries, for example, the Rwanda? So firstly, why we are discussing about it? There is an international organization related to migration, that is the UN's International Organization of the Migration. तो ये डेटा कलेक्ट करता है. As per this, नंबर ऑफ पीपल जो कि माइग्रेट कर रहे हैं, इंटरनल डिस्प्लेसमेंट कर रहे हैं, उनका जो नंबर है वो बढ़ गया है अप टू 6.9 मिलियन ड्यू टू द ऑनगोइंग कॉन्फ्लिक्ट विद द रेबल ग्रुप, दैट इज द मूवमेंट GU23 मार्च, बेटर वी कॉल इट M23. तो ये कॉन्फ्लिक्ट के बारे में देखते हैं ओरिजिन कैसे हुआ. 1990 से ये कॉन्फ्लिक्ट जो है चलता आ रहा है. वाई? बिकॉज 1996 में और 1998 में दो सिविल वॉर हुए थे यहाँ पे, ठीक है. सो देयर वर टू सिविल वॉर्स व्हिच लेड टू दिस इनिशियली कॉन्फ्लिक्ट. रुवांडा में एक जीनोसाइड देखने के लिए मिला, दैट इज द कॉन्फ्लिक्ट इरप्टेड इन द वेक ऑफ रुवांडा जीनोसाइड इन 1994. 1994 में रुवांडा के अंदर जीनोसाइड हुआ. 1996 और 1998 में वहां पे दो सिविल वॉर जो हुए हैं. तो यहाँ पे आपके पास हुतू एक्सट्रीमिस्ट करके एथनिक लोग हैं. They killed nearly 1 million minority ethnic Tutsis and non-extremist Tutsis. सबसे पहले तो एक्सट्रीमिस्ट क्या होता है? एक कोई भी ग्रुप है, उनकी कोई मान लो कि आइडियोलॉजी है. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, आई एम मुस्लिम सपोर्टर, फॉर एग्जाम्पल, राइट? बट दिस इज माई आइडियोलॉजी, दिस इज माई बिलीफ. नाउ आई एम मेकिंग अ ग्रुप दैट आई एम अ मुस्लिम सपोर्टर, बट मैं एक्सट्रीमिस्ट में चली जा रही हूँ, यानी कि उनको सपोर्ट करने के लिए मैं टेरर का साथ ले रही हूँ, या फिर मैं दंगे फसाद कर रही हूँ, मैं इलीगल काम कर रही हूँ, आई एम डूइंग एक्सट्रीमिस्ट एक्टिविटीज एंड किलिंग अदर पीपल. So these are the extremist group. So here, the ethnic Hutus extremists killed nearly 1 million minority ethnic Tutsis and non-extremist Hutus. तब से लेके जो ईस्टर्न डेमोक्रेटिक रिपब्लिक ऑफ कॉन्गो है, जो कि रुवांडा को बॉर्डर करता है, यहाँ पे इंसर्जेंसी की प्रॉब्लम जो है दिखती है, यानी कि इंटरनल लोग जो प्रॉब्लम क्रिएट करते हैं, इंसर्जेंट. तो M23 रिसर्जेंट अकॉर्डिंग टू द यूएन बॉडीज, बिसाइड्स M23 कम से कम 120 इंसर्जेंट ग्रुप और हैं यहाँ पे, जो कि यहाँ पे एक्टिव है. तो बेसिकली इट इज अ इंसर्जेंट प्रॉब्लम. डिस्प्लेसमेंट का रीजन क्या है? एक तो एथनिक इंटॉलरेंस, पर्टिकुलर जो एथनिसिटी के लोग होते हैं, जो माइनॉरिटी के लोग हैं, उनके खिलाफ टॉर्चर कर रहे हैं, मार रहे हैं, जीनोसाइड कर रहे हैं, अटैक कर रहे हैं, एक्सट्रीमिस्ट एक्टिविटीज कर रहे हैं. इंसर्जेंसी है. Sexual violence, wherever you will find any such thing, sexual violence is one of the major reasons. Always they target the women, which is very bad thing. And massive human rights atrocities. Political uncertainty and lack of inclusive governance, regional tensions as well. तो कंसर्न क्या है? ऑब्वियसली वायलेंस हो रहा है, डेथ हो रही है, फेटेलिटीज है. Violence by several militant groups over their territory and natural resources Extrajudicial killing by security forces and rising the tensions with neighboring countries have killed thousands. Failure of the international organizations. According to the World Food Programme, that is WFP, the crisis has left more than 1.1 million people in need of food support across the North Kivu, Ituri, and South Kivu. Funding की यहाँ पे कमी आ रही है. They are lacking with the funding, right? So this was a serious concern with respect to the internal displacement in the Democratic Republic of Congo. Now coming to the last topic of today's discussion is about the Zika virus disease. Virus disease or the bacterial disease or any disease, it is very, very important. Please do revise them as much as possible. They ask that this particular disease is related to what? A virus or a bacteria or what? So here if we talk about the Zika virus, so first of all virus, they are infectious agent. Virus क्या होते हैं? ये infectious agent होते हैं. Second, they are also known as the connecting link between the living organisms and the non-living organisms. That means if the virus are present in a non-living environment, they cannot replicate, they cannot increase their number, they cannot multiply by themselves. They have to be, they have to be transferred via a medium, via any agent in the body of living organism. They use the machinery, the genetic machinery of the living organism. With the help of that, they replicate or increase their number, right? So Zika virus is a mosquito-borne flavivirus that was first identified in Uganda 1947 monkeys के अंदर. बाद में humans में भी आया. तो basically कोई बीमारी अगर animals से humans में जा रही है, we say it is a zoonotic disease. That means it is getting transferred from animals to the humans. So it was later identified in humans in 1952 in Uganda and the United Republic of Tanzania. How it can be transmitted? Obviously, firstly, we said that it is a virus. That means easily ये transfer हो सकता है. It is caused by virus transmitted primarily by the Aedes mosquito. We used to remember the name of the mosquito, that is Aedes mosquito. This is the same mosquito जिससे आपको डेंगू होता है, चिकनगुनिया या फिर yellow fever. They ask that is the mosquito or is the transmitting agent same for the Zika virus, which is for the dengue or chikungunya or yellow fever? The answer is yes, absolutely yes. So Zika virus is also transmitted from mother to the fetus during the pregnancy, to the sexual contact, transfusion of blood products and organs. See, virus को देख के आप इतना बता दोगे कि हाँ वो ट्रांसफर हो रहा है. Important point क्या है कि when a mother is pregnant, when a lady is pregnant, yes, during that time also the mother can transfer this virus to the fetus in the gestation period. So once you're infected with this, what are the symptoms? Number one, you will be having mild and including the fever, rash, conjunctivitis, muscle and joint pain, headache. Zika virus infection during the pregnancy can cause infants to born with the microcephaly, that is smaller than the normal head size. अगर किसी pregnant lady को Zika virus है और वो उसकी fetus में transfer हो रहा है, तो उसका ये reason हो सकता है. उसके बाद ये conclusion निकल सकता है कि there are possibilities that the newly born baby जो है उसका जो head का size होगा, सर का जो size होगा, normal size से छोटा होगा. That condition is known as microcephaly. And other congenital malformation known as congenital Zika syndrome. So treatment, कोई अभी तक treatment नहीं है, no vaccine, no nothing for the Zika. इससे related government के कुछ programs, yes, integrated disease surveillance program, national vector-borne disease control program है, राष्ट्रीय बाल स्वास्थ्य कार्यक्रम जो सरकार ने यहाँ पे स्टार्ट किया. तो जो हमने बोला कि इससे जो बीमारी है जिसका जो एजेंट है वो सेम है, डेंगू हुआ, चिकनगुनिया, उसके दो दो पॉइंट देख लेते हैं हम यहाँ पे. डेंगू इज ऑल्सो ट्रांसमिटेड बाय द मॉस्किटो जो कि एडीज जीनस को ही बिलोंग करता है. सेम सिम्टम्स, फीवर, हेडेक, मसल, जॉइंट पेन. डेंगू वैक्सीन सीवाईडी, टीडी-वर्क या फिर जो डेंग वैक्सिया है, ये कम से कम 20 कंट्रीज ने अप्रूव कर दिया. देखो मॉस्किटो द ट्रांसमिटिंग एजेंट इज सेम, लेकिन जीका के लिए अभी तो कोई वैक्सीन आई नहीं है. पर डेंगू के लिए यस देयर इज अ वैक्सीन. जब मैं चिकनगुनिया की बात करती हूँ, इट इज कॉज्ड बाय मॉस्किटो बोर्न वायरस, सेम बाय एडिस एजिप्टाई. इसकी जो सिम्टम्स है, अब्रप्ट फीवर, सिवियर जॉइंट पेन, कोई भी एंटीवायरल ड्रग ट्रीटमेंट अभी तक इसके लिए अवेलेबल नहीं है. देयर इज नो कमर्शियल चिकनगुनिया वैक्सीन. येलो फीवर, इट इज स्टेट acute viral hemorrhagic disease है. It is known as 17D and according to the WHO, it is safe and affordable. इसकी जो वैक्सीन आई है, it is safe and affordable. So vaccines are there, but not for the Zika virus yet. Okay. So this was all about the discussion as Diwali's vacations are going on. So discussions are becoming smaller because the important editorials are mostly repeated. So you can pretty well utilize such time to revise your study course, right? So this was all about this. Thank you so much. Please do subscribe our channel IS Cafe, like and share.